Welcome to the latest edition of Sunflower Podcast. My name's Jane Anderson. And first of all, I want to thank you all for your support for the last two podcasts that we've put out. It's been quite overwhelming with the likes and the subscriptions. We've had 12,500 views. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Today is a really big day. We're going to be interviewing Vicky. And Vicky, I'll let her introduce herself in a wee second. But Vicky is, I would describe her as an inspiration. She is an author. She's a mentor. She's just full of inspiration and full of energy. So this has been great. And it's very, very kind that she's done the interview, because this time last year we were talking about this. Neither of us would have done this. Welcome, Vicky.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We'll get to your books in a wee while, but could you just give us a brief description of who you see yourself as?
Oh gosh, there are many versions of Vicky. I am a writer and a writing mentor. I run writing workshops and writing. I'm really heavily involved in the writing community and the creative community generally. I also have, my family have a couple of bars and I help out in a bit, and yeah.
So obviously by your accent, we have similar accents that they're not the norm normally. Wales you came from?
Wales, South
How
Wales.
did you get here? South Wales to here? Tell us how.
My mum and dad moved out here in 2009 roughly, and then in about 2015 my dad just phoned me up one day and said, "I'm thinking about buying a bar. Do you want to come over and run it?"
Wow.
And I just thought, yeah, okay, something a bit different.
Okay.
I'd never even dreamed that I'd be moving to France. It wasn't on the cards. It wasn't a thing.
Right, so it's not something you'd hope to do or follow them out when they moved? Or...
No.
Wow.
But
So, yeah, from the phone call until you got here, how long roughly was that? Was it?
6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pack up and come.
Yeah.
So did you have expectations? Did you have...
I suppose, yeah, I kind of imagined that it was going to be more sort of cleaner living and,
Yeah.
there's no takeaways, you've got to walk everywhere, but actually it was nothing like that at all, but that was fine.
But because you live above the bar.
Yes.
So you're actually in a town location. So
yeah.
You've not, it's fabulous and the ground is beautiful. So yeah, very different from what you expected. In South Wales, were you more...
I was right in the well, I lived in Barry, so on the seaside, right by the seaside.
And
so
what is Barry famous for?
The beach.
The beach?
I don't know. Gavin and Stacey.
Gavin and Stacey, well done. Yes, we do. We all love Gavin and Stacey. So yeah, so from Barry, Gavin and Stacey to here, that's quite a cultural difference.
Yeah, there was a big cultural difference. But I think in Wales, I was just kind of like stuck in a rut. Yeah. And then coming out here changed all that.
Okay, so you got here.
Yeah.
And you get the bar.
Yes.
Annie's bar.
Yeah, Annie's bar. So we ran the bar for a number of years, and I worked in the bar and ran the bar, and it was lovely. Then I was just writing my own stuff, not really, a little bit of editing on the side, a little bit of ghostwriting. Then my dad decided to buy a second bar, Annie's Encore.
Yeah.
So we've got that too. And then when COVID hit, really, I thought, I really want to do something different now. I'm ready to do something different. And that's really when I started doing the mentoring and the writing workshops, and things changed.
Everything changed during COVID, yeah. Everything changed. So when you first came to the bar, did you speak fluent French?
No, I didn't speak any French at all.
So how did you... Because it's a challenge for all of us when we come out here and you suddenly, you're saying bonjour when you should be saying au revoir and vice versa.
Yeah.
And your brain's just... So how did you cope with that in a new business?
I think being thrown in the deep end really helped.
Okay.
Really helped. I think a lot of the time when people struggle, I think if you were put in a situation where you've got no choice, it would help a lot. It took me a while. The people here are very kind, very patient. As long as you're having a go, they'll help you along. But yeah, the numbers, that was really difficult, because obviously when you're giving out change and charging people, that was a steep learning curve.
Yeah, I would find that really. Yeah.
but yeah, I muddled along and now I speak quite well.
And did you find, was there a lot more French customers when you first took over? Was it more expat community?
I think when we first took over, it was probably about 50-50. Now I would say we've got more French than Brits.
And that's testament to the French accepting you into the community. So long have you had the bar now?
10 years.
10 years,
10
right.
years.
Just celebrated that.
Yeah. The locals still call it the English bar. But
right, okay.
that's okay. We let that one go. Yes.
And that's fine, that's okay. So there must have been funny times in that time, surely, with communication when you were learning the language.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Is there any stick out? You can be rude, it's okay. It's not, it's like, we had one, the last one, I actually had the most views.
Actually, my ex-husband, who came with me, when we first moved out, he would put a drink down and say bon bois, thinking it meant enjoy your drink, but it means good wood. So he was
okay.
It's a little bit rude, but
okay. Well, okay, that's definitely one, right? We'll remember that, not to say that. I'll just avoid that one completely. I think that's an absolute definitely not. Okay, so you hear the bar, and then you opened Annie's Encore.
Annie's Encore, yeah.
So that's in Cluy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another lovely part of France. And
Annie's Encore, originally we sort of opened it as a music venue because we're not allowed to have music here in Annie's. Because of the neighbours and the proximity to residential homes. We still do a bit of music up there. We hold events up there and that sort of thing. So it's not as full on as Annie's because it's more of an events venue rather than
and that's perfect. That's good. How did you find? And we know that French bureaucracy, they love France, but it can be a bit clunky. How was setting up a business?
We actually paid somebody to do all that for us.
Okay.
So
a handholder.
we paid a handholder, yeah.
Because it can be.
Well, actually, we paid an accountant, a French accountant,
to sort all that out. Yeah. Okay. And is there lots of different licenses? Because we know when we're at home, we know all about licenses and occasional licenses, all these different things. Is it much different here, or?
It's not much different, to be honest. You have to renew the license every 10 years. There are 4 categories of license, and we've got the highest one. It depends on whether you're serving. Some can only serve with food, some can only serve beers and wines, some can serve spirits. So we've got obviously the main bar one. But no, it was all right. My mum went to do the license initially, and she took a translator with her, and they were fine with that, which is good. But now we've since learned that you can do it online. So when we renewed it, we did it online. So. It was easy.
Yeah, we've just done, so in France, we have to do our tax returns every year, and they give different dates for different regions. So I just completed mine last week. Were you last week? And that can be quite stressful, to say the least. I think everybody sort of walks about in the few weeks leading up to it looking grey. They're just constantly in their heads thinking, I need to get that bit of paper. And then it's done for a year.
Yeah.
So that is definitely, it's a challenge, but I think once you get to know,
I think they make it unnecessarily complicated as well.
Yeah,
they put.
Yeah, I got to the end of it last week, 4.5 hours that I'll never get back, and I was sitting there and I kept hitting the send button or whatever, and it wouldn't accept my address, and I'm thinking, well, I can't really do anything about my address.
So that's my address.
I had to just keep putting different things in until it accepted my address, and off it could go. And it's such a relief once you get that in, because that's because you know everything at home so easily, and then this is all new. So that was okay. So we're here, we're established. COVID hits, which is a difficult time for everybody, but especially hospitality. We've both got hospitality backgrounds. How was that part? Because
I've got to say the French government were amazing. So we obviously had to shut down. The French government paid us whatever we declared what we earned the year before, and it was super simple, which we were all quite surprised at. But it went really smoothly, and I've got to say they were really good with us. Yeah.
And how strict were they about? I know you've got TT, a free French bulldog.
I didn't have TT at
Oh, did you not have him
at
that time?
He wasn't around that time. He wasn't born.
He wasn't born, right? Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So how did you find the restrictions personally?
They were very strict. For me, I quite liked it.
Yeah.
Personally, I liked that it forced me to slow down, and because the government was so good financially, it wasn't too much of a concern. I mean, a little bit, obviously, wasn't too much of a concern. So I actually quite liked COVID. It was quite
Yeah,
a relaxing time for me.
we liked COVID. As harsh as it was for a lot of
Yeah.
people, I think if you come from hospitality, then yeah, it was a time to.
Yeah.
You were
Breathe.
forced to stop.
Yeah.
You were forced to actually,
Yeah.
and think about things and think,
Yeah.
I don't have to work as many hours as I
Yeah.
did before.
And obviously, I didn't want loads of people to die for that to
No,
happen.
absolutely. But yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, we're just saying from
Yeah.
a hospitality point of view,
Yeah.
definitely. And we were very lucky where we were because we were in Argyll, and it wasn't as strict because there's not as many. You can walk without meeting lots of people. So yeah, okay. So during COVID, your writing side. So just give us a bit of your background. You've got 1 degree, 2 degrees?
I've got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, both in philosophy.
Wow.
And I've been editing really since university.
Okay.
Little bits on and off. I've had periods where I've done a lot and then periods where I've slowed down. I slowed down quite a bit when I came here because it's all new and exciting and wanted to do different things. And then when COVID hit and we weren't allowed out and I was looking for maybe other ways to earn money, I went back to that. And I went back to ghostwriting as well, which is where somebody gives you a story and you write it. You don't get credit for it, but you do get paid for it.
Okay.
Which is nice. So I did a lot of that. During COVID. So up until now, I've written about 50 ghostwritten novels.
Wow.
I've written about 50 novels, yeah.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. And had you always wanted to write your own books?
Yes, I've written some books before that I'm not going to say were bad because they were right for the time.
Yes.
But if I knew everything I knew now, then I would consider them not great. But I did publish those. I self-published those under a pseudonym.
Yeah.
So I had done that in the past. But the books that I write now are more me, and they're more. I've got more knowledge and more experience, so I'm writing them better.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's talk about the one that's just launched.
Chance to Dream.
For Chance to Dream. I don't read many books. I struggle with the concentration of reading books. For Chance to Dream is wow, and it's very, I think, relevant to the time of AI and where the world seems to be heading. Whether you like AI or not, it's here. So for Chance to Dream was really, for me, to be able to get through and read all that book was amazing. My husband's read it. So yeah, tell us the inspiration behind Per Chance to Dream.
I read an article just online somewhere that said that there's technology now where they can read your dreams and translate them into film. And I think this is fascinating and also terrifying.
Yeah.
And I can see how if it got in the hands of public and became like social media, how this would become a big trend, watching everybody's dreams, getting, judging people for their dreams. And that's kind of where the inspiration came from. Like, what if we all started watching each other's dreams? And then what happens when we all start judging each other?
Yeah, that would be quite, yeah. I wouldn't like, no, not all of my dreams
No.
read. That would be, no. So, can you give us a kind of small bio on it? On what would the reader be looking?
Okay, so it's a speculative fiction. And the main character, Meredith, or Mary, as she likes to be called, she is dead against dream screens. She doesn't like the idea of having her dreams read. But they become so popular. And then companies start rolling them out for free on the proviso that you stick them outside your home as a marketing ploy, really. And then everybody can watch everybody's dreams. And then as time goes on, people start having problems with other people and what they're dreaming, and then it becomes a government-led thing, a criminalized thing of, dream crime. And if you're doing something wrong in your dream, then there's a chance you might be prosecuted for it.
Which is absolutely terrifying because I'd be in jail. I would just sometimes it's like, yeah, that's quite, not in a horrible way, but just well, that sounds amazing. So we're going to leave a link for that in the comments so that you can follow that through. And the next book that you have, well, really, you're the driving force behind it.
Well, yes, as a group.
As a group, in another time. So explain.
So I co-founded an association for writers and artists called the Dragon's Pen. And every year we produce an anthology of short stories, poems, illustrations. This is our latest one. It's actually not released yet. It comes out on 14th of June. I don't know when the podcast is going out, but
Yep.
this is released
Probably
on the
about that
14th
time,
of June. Yeah. So, and it's just a collection of short stories and poems and illustrations on the theme of, if you could come back in another life, what or who would you come back as?
That
Yeah.
sounds fantastic. And I know definitely one of the authors is now back in England.
Yes.
So it's really
Yeah, I think we've got 3 in the UK now. So 3 of the people who've contributed are in the UK.
fantastic. So Dragon's Pen,
Yes.
tell us more. I'm slightly involved, but I'm more in the background.
Dragon's Pen started as a writing group in Riva
Yeah.
tea lounge
Yeah.
shop
In Le Châtre,
in Le Châtre. And it was just 3 of us originally to start off with, but it got bigger and bigger, and we started wanting to do bigger projects and stuff. And in order to do things like publish the books, we needed to become legal. So we set up as a proper association, and now we have 41 members, I think.
Yeah.
So, and some in the UK, some all across France. We've got a lady in Normandy, and yeah, it's going really well. There's artists and writers and creatives of all kinds
Yeah,
coming
because
together.
there's now another part
Mm,
has developed from it, hasn't it? And that's the
yes.
creative side.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I remember the launch day in Annie's
Mm,
Encore,
yeah.
and it was great. We had maybe 10 people, and now, it's 40 plus and growing every
Yeah.
day. And there's a big event coming up.
Yes, we got a big event actually on the 14th to coincide with the launch. A workshop day where people can come and take part in 3 workshops over the day, and it's a mix of creative things, writing things, crafty things, and it should be a really good fun day.
Yeah, because I think I know a lot of us have a dream before we get to France about coming to France, and again, I think it's about expectation and reality. But they're going to write books and things. But you've opened that door and made that accessible, that they can actually come along and sit with other writers, and they don't have to be. I never dreamt of writing anything, and you have dragged me kicking and screaming, and I now have a workbook that's just about to be at the published stage.
Very exciting.
It's very exciting for me because I would never have dreamt of it. It just would never have happened. So for me, that's the inspiration.
Yeah.
Is you that has.
Thank you.
And you've done it for so many people. And it's that community thing that we were talking about. We've talked about lots of times. Sunflower group, and then there's, you've set up this community group, and it's what makes us all tick. I think out here you've got a purpose again.
I think for me, community is really, really important. And it might have come from, so when I was in the UK, I didn't really have friends, didn't speak to anyone, didn't really go out. Makes me sound terribly sad, but I wasn't terribly sad. It just was life, I just went to work, came home like everyone else does. And then coming out here, I sort of wanted to expand that part of myself and sort of make friends and stuff. And then it just kind of happened. This community grew and has started blossoming. And it's really wonderful to see so many writers and creatives coming together who really, it's just fab.
Yeah, and I think people have been able to access things like poetry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of Katie, and I had the pleasure of being in one of our workshops with you. Sorry, I should put that into context. So last year, you started a Author Fest.
Yeah.
And we did a wee workshop together, and Katie did one for us, and I had never dreamt of writing poetry, and she just inspired us all to write poetry that day, and it was amazing. But there's another Author Fest coming up.
There's another Author Fest in September, bigger this year, better.
Much bigger.
Year. Yeah, much bigger. So last year we did a 2-day sort of writer conference thing where we had some workshops and some talks and stuff. This year it's going to be 3 days, and there's going to be a retreat aspect, so people can either buy a day ticket or they can stay and have a retreat style weekend in Lusat, which is near Guzon.
Yeah.
Which is
so very exciting.
very
We are
exciting.
excited about that.
Yes.
We have lots of work to do, but we are very,
yes.
very excited. It's So back to community as well. So Sunflowers meets in Annie's Bar.
Yeah.
As one of our locations. And again, it's just about, your place becomes a part of the hub for the community, and we access that through that. So it's about building, because there are people out here who become very isolated very quickly, and it's about really spurring them on.
I think that isolation is a real danger for people coming out here. They think I think in the UK where everything's so close together we have this idea of, I'm going to go and live in the countryside where there's no houses and I'm going to be all on my own and it's going to be lovely. And it's lovely for 6 weeks.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, I'm all on my own and there's no houses anywhere. And, so groups like the Sunflowers and the Dragon's Pen and all those sorts of groups, they really do help people.
Yeah, they are needed. I found that as well. I think we were James and I were talking about this the other night, and it was like the first 6 weeks, I'm like, you're so driven, and we were renovating, so and then suddenly it's like, whoa, we're actually here. We're actually here, and we have to start building a life out here. And last weekend was a big weekend for Annie's Bar.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about Pentecôte and out here.
Every year for the Fête de la Pentecôte, there is a big festival here in Egrand. There's a fairground and a huge market, and there's a parade that goes through twice with fire and floats and all sorts of fun things. It's just heaving all weekend. They close off the roads and it's just busy and exciting, and everybody's happy. It's nice to see everybody happy.
Yeah. And we've just come through a heat wave.
Yes. It was very hot that weekend, actually.
Yes. I think we'd only been here 6 weeks when we got the first heat wave. And we literally hid in a room with the dog and the cat and 5 fans because we'd come from Scotland. We were like, and 3 years later, we're like, no, it's okay. It's hot and it's, it's 35, 39, whatever it was. But that's a shock, though, I think.
Yeah.
Especially coming from colder climates.
Yeah, because they tend to cluster, don't they? We have like a week or two of super hot weather.
Yeah.
Like we've just come out now. And it just feels relentless.
Yeah, you kind of get to the end and you think, right, I've had enough now, it's lovely, but...
I don't work so much in the kitchen anymore, in the bar. Yeah. But when I used to work in the bar and it would be 35, 38 degrees outside, my kitchen was obviously significantly hotter. It's awful.
I couldn't imagine. That would not happen. It was
Very hot.
To be salads that day and nothing else. Like, sorry, burgers are off. It's, and you also have, and I love this story, the big yellow bus.
Big yellow bus, yeah.
Tell us how the big yellow bus got here when it wasn't yellow.
The big yellow bus. No, it was yellow.
Was it yellow when it came out?
We bought it, yeah. The big yellow bus was my dad's dream. It was his sort of retirement goal. He was he did buy a bus. He wanted to buy a double-decker bus and turn it into a gîte, a 6-bed gîte, which is what it is now. My dad is a bus driver, or was a bus driver in the UK. So he went back to the UK, bought a double-decker bus and drove it here.
As you do.
As you do. And my mum was following him in a car, but there was all sorts of problems. They lost a tyre, so they had to get the tyre changed on the way, and you can't just go into a normal garage with a double-decker bus. It was snowing.
Oh my.
So they drove through the snow, and then when they got here, they parked it up in the street whilst my dad prepared the route into the field, and somebody drove into the back of it. Smashed the back of it. So it was a bit of a... And then it went into the field and it just stayed there for a while until my dad was ready to do it. And because of the wet weather, it sank into the mud. So we had to get a load of tractors to pull it out. It's now on a concrete plinth. So
how did your French neighbours?
They think it's hysterical.
Okay. Yeah.
We were talk of the town for quite a while.
Yeah. That sounds like me with the goats. So we got the goats, and now my neighbours refer to me as Madame Chèvre. Chèvre is the French for goat. And it's because of a really specific incident last summer. It was a heat wave. It was like 39 degrees. I had a pink dress on, pink flip-flops, and my goats escaped. And I had to drag them back through the pond with all my neighbours watching. So from then I became Madame Chèvre. So it's but these are the things that I suppose get us into the community because people don't forget us then. So and I think if you get a nickname, then they've really taken you in. Okay, so right, that's books. We've set up communities. What is next?
Ooh, I don't know. More books, more communities.
More books. Are you writing another book?
I am writing another book at the moment.
Okay.
It's called The Dream Sweeper. You see, I have a theme. I like dreams.
The Dream Sweeper. It's
not anything to do with Chance to Dream.
Okay.
But it's another literary fiction about Tina the Cleaner.
Tina the Cleaner. Okay.
I can't tell you much more because I haven't written that much more yet. But
we're looking forward to Tina the
process.
Cleaner. And as far as If you were to look back to Vicky 10 years ago that got the phone call, or 11 years ago, and said, I'm going to buy a bar, come and work with us, what would you say to her? What would you...
Completely different. I was a completely different person. I was meek and mild. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of cameras. No way in a million years. I'm completely different. And I think in some ways my story differs from a lot of people here because of that. So I was stuck in a rut and I was, things weren't going well and they weren't going badly. They just weren't going well. And I came out here and I now push in ways that I never did. I have ambition in ways that I never did. I have passion and motivation and drive in ways that I never really had.
So what would you say to the person, not necessarily sitting in the south of Wales or sitting in Scotland, but that are sitting in a rut, but they know they want something else out of life? Give us some of your inspiration.
Do it. And do you know what? If it goes wrong, it goes wrong and you try something different. But chances are it's not going to go wrong.
No.
You make it what you want to make it. So get out and do it.
Vicky, thank you so much. Always an inspiration. And you're a dear friend. And thank you for sharing with us everything that you've shared.
Thank you for having me.